Hey everyone. I wanted to share with you all today a little bit of a project that I had been working on. So something I was noticing was that every time I went out for a walk, there were new flowers that were blooming and plants were growing taller, and even in my own house, all my houseplants are growing new leaves. So I wanted to do an experiment with you all, and the very first thing that we're going to need to get started is to make a scientist notebook. So I wanted to show you how I make my scientist notebook out of just one sheet of paper and a pair of scissors. All right, so the first step in making your tiny science notebook is going to be to fold your paper hot dog style. So that's long way. So the longest edge and the longest edge of your paper are going to meet each other. I'm going to try to line up my corners as evenly as I can. And I'll push down on this folded edge and make a crease. Then I'm going to unfold my paper. I'm going to do the same thing again, but opposite. So I'm going to fold it hamburger style. So I'm going to do my shortest edge to my shortest edge and match my corners up as close as I can. That's a little off, but that's okay. And I'm going to press on the folded edge again and make a crease. So I'm going to open this back up, and you should be able to see 4 rectangles. I'll count them by twos. 2, 4 rectangles. So next you take the short edge of your paper one more time, but you don't fold it all the way across, just fold it halfway to that center line that you just made by folding it hamburger style. So you'll fold that, make a crease on that folded edge, and do the same thing on the other side. So short edge comes all the way to the middle of the paper and push it down to make a crease. There we go. I'm going to open it back up again. And so now I have 2, 4, 6, 8 rectangles on my paper. So the next part, I need to use my scissors. But first, I'm going to fold it hamburger style one more time. And on the creased edge, the part that's folded, not the part that opens, I'm going to cut this line to the center of the paper. So I'm going to take from the middle of the page on the crease and cut it to the middle, not all the way across, or cut your little book in half. And then you should be able to open it, and you'll have a little mouth in the middle of your paper. All right, so the last step, I'm going to fold my paper one more time, hot dog style, long edge to long edge. And I'm going to pick it up by the creased part, the part that doesn't open but has the cut on it. And I'm going to push my book together to make a little plus sign. And I'm going to fold it up and bring this one around to be the back cover. I'm going to do a little crease one more time. And now I have a little science book. So you all helped me learn some things I needed to know about plants. I know that plants need a couple of things. Plants need water, soil, food. They also need sunlight, air, and space. Now, I can only give my plants some of those things. I can give them water, soil, sunlight, and air. So I want to try to sprout some bean plants in my house. And even though I can't give my plants the right kind of food or enough space, I can still get to maybe these first 3 on the life cycle of a bean. So first they start out as a bean or a seed, they grow some roots, they maybe grow bigger and taller, they get some stalks, maybe they grow some flowers, and lastly, when they get big enough, they might grow bean pods, and inside of those pods are where the actual beans are in. So even though my plant won't get that big, that's okay. Plants aren't going to get very big inside of my own house. I still want to sprout some beans to see their roots and their leaves and see how big they can grow. So the things that you're going to need for this, if you want to follow along with me, are a paper towel, a clear container, or a Ziploc bag. I ran out of Ziploc bags, so I'm going to use a little clear ice cream cup as my little greenhouse. You'll need some water and, of course, some dried beans that you want to sprout. I have with me a pinto bean, a garbanzo bean, a black bean, and a tiny little lentil there. It's hard to see. So the first step you're gonna need to do is fold your paper towel in half. If you're using a Ziploc bag, you can leave it just like that. But since I'm using my ice cream cup, I'm gonna fold it a little bit smaller so that it fits on the lid. Just like that. My next step is gonna be to get my paper towel a little bit wet. And this is gonna be a little easier if you wanna just go to the sink. But since I don't wanna stand up, I'll just pour some of my water on my paper towel, let it get a little bit soggy so that my plants can have something to drink. Just like that. Last step, put your dried beans onto the paper towel inside of your Ziploc bag or just on the lid of your container. And let them sit like that. Mine look like this. And then you seal up your Ziploc bag, or in my case, you can screw on the lid to your clear container so that they have some space to grow and they'll get nice and happy in there. Last thing you'll need is to find a sunny window to put your plants in so that they can grow. So the next step is that I'm going to take my tiny scientist notebook and I'm going to flip it to a blank page, and I'm going to write down the things I see in my greenhouse every day. So I might write down on day 1, maybe even on day 2 and 3, my beans don't look very different. They kind of just look like this. But later on, I'll show you another one that I made a week ago. My beans got so much bigger. Look at that. This one has sprouted. It has some roots that look like a foot to help it stabilize and grow tall. It has a big stem and some leaves are poking out. Over here on my pinto bean, my roots are just now poking out of my pinto bean and my garbanzo bean, but hopefully when I keep the paper towel wet, I'll see if they'll get any bigger, like my black bean.